But how else can we get our soul encouraged? How can we gain hope when we're in the valley and we're in a difficult situation in our marriage or in parenting or finances or whatever, right? And I feel like God showed me this verse. He led me to this one verse, and it's up on the screen right there. And this is a verse that you've probably read many, many times, and it's probably on a plaque somewhere. And so you can just run right by it and go, oh yeah, that's just a nice little verse. But it's more than just a nice little verse. First of all, let's just read it together. It's 1 Thessalonians 5. Rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. And I feel like I was saying, not only is this my will for you, but when you do these three things, you will gain hope. You will encourage your soul. So let's kind of drill down into each one of these components here. So the first one is rejoice always. And notice God doesn't say to do this when you feel joyful. I didn't see that there. It just says rejoice always. He just instructs us to rejoice. And the word rejoice means to show great joy or delight. So he's just telling us this is what you need to do. Not like when you feel like it. He's saying, no, just do it. Show great joy or delight. And you will be surprised that even if you don't feel joy, if you choose to show joy, listen to this, I gotta repeat this over again because this is like so important. Even if you don't feel joy, if you choose to be joyful, show joy, you will likely find that your mood changes and you will start to become more joyful. So what could you do to show joy? Like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you do that, right? I'm just going to give you some ideas. You can write down what occurs to you or what kind of jives with you. But, okay, to do joy, to show joy, what if you just start smiling on purpose? Like, you just smile more. You just remind yourself to smile more. What if you assume the best about people? Ooh, even your husband, even your boss, even that annoying coworker, even your mother-in-law. Like you just decide, I'm going to assume the best about people. I am telling you that I know 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 that if you just do that one thing, you will be more joyful. Totally. Guaranteed. I would like you to try this and then report back to me if you do not feel more joyful by just assuming the best about people. How about if you look for the best in people? Like, what about that? Just look for the best in people. Here's another idea. These are just all random ideas about how to start to press into this joy thing, and then it actually becomes how you feel. What if you treat your senses to the beauty of God's creation? You just make it like a purposeful thing, an intentional thing that, you know what, periodically I'm going to treat myself to filling up my senses with the beauty of God's creation, whatever is beautiful to you. How about if you laugh more easily and don't take yourself so doggone seriously? Some of you. You know who you are. How many of you kind of take yourself a little bit seriously sometimes? Am I the only one? I take myself way too seriously. But what if you just intentionally say, I'm just going to laugh off little things, little mistakes. I'm not going to take everything so seriously. What if you refuse to dwell on the negative? You just say, I'm not going to park there. I'm not going to let my mind park on the negative. I'm not going to stay there. When I find myself slipping into the negative, I'm going to be purposeful and intentional and say, no, I'm not going to dwell there. You know, last week we talked about catching Satan and calling him out. And I don't know why this is so helpful for me, but every time that I feel like he's lying to me or trying to get me to dwell in the negative or just bring me down, I'm like, I see you. So there's something about this that oh yeah, I see what you're up to. I see your shenanigans. Not gonna happen. I see you. And so when I'm dwelling on the negative, I see you. I'm not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. What if you remind yourself of all God has done in your life? What if you just do that? You purposely remind yourself of all God has done in your life. Will you not just you'll start to be more joyful? How about listening to worship music and just start praising the Lord? You will become more joyful as you start praising the Lord. You can ask God to show you the good that He can bring in every situation, even if it's something that He's just trying to teach you. Because sometimes it's like, okay, there's nothing good that can happen out of this situation. My best friend, my very best friend in the whole world, been my friend forever, just got a second recurrence of breast cancer, and then we thought that she wasn't going to need to have this really harsh chemotherapy, and she just got the call yesterday she has to go through this really harsh chemotherapy regimen, and my heart was just broken for her, and like even in that conversation with her though, as we were talking on the phone, it's like, you know, it's hard to see the good in this situation, but maybe he's trying, you know, she's like, maybe he's trying to teach me something. Maybe he's going to use me as a reflection of Christ's love through this, as the chemo nurse is giving me the chemo. And she's already looking for like, I wonder what God could be up to here. And I'm like, yes, way to go, Catherine. You know, it's like, way to go, because you can either be down in the dumps, or you can say, you know what? I know the Lord, I know Romans 8:28, that in all things God works together for good for those who love him or are called according to his purpose. And so you can stand on that and say, I don't know what God's up to, but I trust him and he's up to something, and it's going to be good in the long run.